Zoning is a handshake across the table between the different parts of Nigeria in order for everybody to get an opportunity to lead, to bring his own ideas across, to represent the values of his people or her people, so that it can go around. And once it starts going around, development will also be able to start going around. Zoning, I need people to understand, is not a constitutional thing. Neither is it something that we will call obligatory. It's not by force. It was not by force that it was made. It's not constitutional. So of course anybody that decides not to go with it cannot face anything in court. Every single person has the right to aspire to be what he wants to be in Nigeria. Unfortunately, if we leave it that open, we are going to have sets in this country that will never ever have proper representation, that will never ever have the opportunity to bring their ideas across and see if it's going to be useful to the country. Apart from the zoning, when we want to speak about constitutionality, you have to have a certain percentage in another certain percentage. I mean, a certain percentage of the votes in a certain percentage of the states before you are declared a winner of a presidential election. You can have 100 million votes. If it comes from less than 75% of this country, you are not going to be the victor there. And that was done in order to create a sense of belonging, so that even if there is a state that has just 5 people there, then you need to go and get 75. You need to get at least 25% of that 5 people that are there. So at least they themselves, that 5 will still count at the end of the day. Not just open voting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. You have to have acceptance across board. That means 75% of Nigeria has to know you, has to accept you to lead them. Based on this, leaders in 1999 took time to see and say, look, when we go back to the civilian dispensation, that is after General Abdul Salam, when we go back to the civilian administration, how do we make sure that another coup does not come? How do we make sure that another Biafra does not come? How do we make sure that this country will not be divided across states or cultural or ethnic or religious lines? Because we have states that have advantage at every election, such as Kano. Based on this, our leader said the best thing to do is to make sure that this power rotates. They didn't do it constitutionally, it's not written in the constitution, but it was an understanding. It was an understanding between leaders that have love for this country, that want it to go round for everybody to be able to have a taste of power and bring his own solutions into the problems of Nigeria. That is zoning. Now, the zoning was then broken mainly into 2, the south and the north. It's obvious to anybody that the northern part of this country has the largest amount of votes in Nigeria. But even if you have all the votes in the north, if you don't have it in the south, you will never win. We have President Buhari, who had 12 million votes, but could not get the constitutional mandate. Based on that, they said, let the south start first. And General Olusegun Obasanjo came in, did his first 4 years, and when it was time for him to ask Nigerians to renew his mandate, we had a certain number of people, especially from the north, that felt that the zoning should be for 4 years, not 8 years. And based on that, they brought out Atiku Abubakar as the northern consensus candidate. The president, Obasanjo, had to go and plead with his vice for his vice to support him. And at that point, that was when it changed into 8 years. President Obasanjo stuck to his words and passed the power over to the northern part of this country. Now, we automatically felt that, okay, it should be 8 years. That means Yaradua, who ran against Buhari at that time as well, should also have 8 years. The North should have 8 years. Unfortunately, God did what he does, and Umaru Musa Yaradua fell sick not long after his elections, after winning. We had him only for about 7 or 8 months of him working. After that, it was a different situation where he had to deal with his health issues, his health challenges. And the country was in disarray. We had a group of people that wanted to continue managing the president, Yaradua, continuously, and maybe when the 2007 election comes, at that point, they can then get another northern candidate to then finish the next 4 years. But even though if a man can plan, God is a better planner. After 2 years, we lost one of the greatest Nigerians in this country, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who till today everybody knows and says, if only God gave us more time with that man, Nigeria would have been a different story. Yar'Adua died 2 years in office, and that was the beginning of the problem that we have today in Nigeria. Because now there's an argument at all times. If it went the way they wanted, it would have been South 8, Obasanjo, North 8, South 8, and that's it. Everyone would have been fair. But then the president, Yar'Adua, died after 2 years. He didn't even do the 4 years, so let's more of the 8 years that we're talking about. And we now had a new president who was sworn in, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Let us remember that Goodluck himself is from a minority. He's also from a minority. But let's go back to zoning. At that point there, northern elites started to worry, and they started to complain because they felt that now they were shortchanged. The South had just done 8 years, and now we have only gotten 2 years, and the South is going to finish the next 2 years. It's not right. Based on that, when the election came in 2011, Goodluck Jonathan was able to go across and convince northern people to allow him to do just one term and then hand it over. If you do your calculation at that time, 8 plus 6 that Jonathan did, about 14. South has had 14, the North has had 2. You see where the Northerners are complaining on now. Northern elites like Atiku Abubakar and so many other people were not happy because they felt that no, allow the North to finish their 8 years. But a compromise was made, and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan won 2011 against President Buhari, who had 12 million votes. But Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was able to beat him and win back the seat. Tribal and ethnic sentiment that started to come up just because zoning was broken by an act of God. I want people to understand the value that zoning comes and the peace that it brings and the hell that it has brought into Nigeria. And what this can cause if we do not repair what we need to understand and clear the slate, because we cannot continue the way we are. Atiku Abubakar was one of the pioneers that fought for zoning, that it is a right. Everybody should have a right to be president. He fought for zoning as a hero of Nigeria by stating that no, it has to go back to the North. So in 2015, he came out and got others as well to also stand and say, no, this is not fair on the North. Based on that, they kicked Goodluck Jonathan out because they believed it was time for North. In 2019 came, President Buhari ran without an opposition in APC and won the ticket as expected. The PDP also understood that, look, it was, due to what happened with Yar'Adua and things like that, let's allow North to do 8 years. That was in 2019. And they went ahead and voted and chose Atiku Abubakar. I want Nigerians to remember one thing in the PDP primaries of 2019. There was no southern candidate that came out for president in PDP. No southern candidate at all. Fayoshe bought a ticket to run for president. And when he was doing a speech to tell people why he is running for president, he said, even though my northern brothers, I know that it is your time, but none of you have come out here to tell us that you want to run. So I'm bringing myself out until somebody says he wants to run. So in PDP and some other parties, only northerners run. And Atiku Abubakar got the mandate of his party, the PDP, to run, because at that point, he was also a strong advocate of zoning. 8 years for naught, 8 years for naught, 8 years for naught, 8 years for naught. That is a message that he had, that everybody kept saying at that time, including Atiku Abubakar. All of a sudden, people forgot the meaning of zoning. People that created what zoning is, we are young. We were nobody when they created this thing, but we understood the wisdom behind it, and we believed in what they did. These people created zoning. All of a sudden in 2023, they forgot what they created. They forgot that they gave birth to this thing, zoning. All of a sudden, they didn't care anymore. They didn't care anymore. They didn't care that Buhari was from the north. Their own issue was, Nigeria is so bad, we need to save Nigeria, we need to do this, we need to do that. Okay. So there was no southerner that could have tried to save Nigeria all these years that they were giving the north all this privilege, Abi. Even in the APC, we had northern candidates. But the governors of the APC came together and said, no, this must go to the south. The last candidate of the PDP was from the south that won an election, which was Jonathan. But the last candidate, presidential candidate, was for a northerner, which was Atiku Abubakar in 2019. He was also in 2023, which was the beginning of the destruction of their party, so that people can understand the dangers in touching zoning. This zoning thing has destroyed parties. This zoning that is not constitutional has had severe consequences. We've seen it. The PDP today have regretted what they've done, and today they have said that they are going back to South. South should do it. Peter Obi is part of coalition, but he has come out to say he's going to do only 4 years because he respects zoning. After 4 years, North can take their team back. Right? After that, we also have Bola Tinubu, who is also a Southerner. Amechi has come out to also say he's going to only do 4 years because he believes in zoning. But the people that created zoning have forgotten it now.